21st April 1970, Trinidad and Tobago awoke to the voice of then Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams announcing a state of emergency. It was intended to stop the momentum of the Black Power Uprising. The movement by the university students had both electrified and terrified the nation with their calls for greater social awareness and national pride. As we continue our series, looking back at this historic occasion 45 years ago, Soyini Grey speaks with some of the frontline figures of the revolution as they recall the events that led up to the 1970 state of emergency.
On February 27th, the day after the first protest, 8 of the leaders were awakened in their homes and arrested. When the 8 were taken to court that very morning, a crowd gathered outside the magistrate's court on St. Vincent Street in Port of Spain. The leaders were released on bail the following Saturday and proceeded to plan a series of marches to Caroni, San Fernando and around Tobago that captured the attention of the country. And then there were the public meetings. People came from all over to hear the charismatic leader of the movement, Geddes Granger, later known as McCandle Dagger. It was after one of those meetings, on the 6th of April, that Basil Davis, a young man, was shot by Corporal Joshua Gordon. Davis died in front of the Holy Trinity Cathedral. His funeral 3 days later became one of the more defining moments of the uprising.
These are from the funeral of Basil Davis, which is undoubtedly the largest funeral ever took place in the country. The estimates range from between 30 to 100,000 people. This was on the truck that the coffin was on, looking forward when we were passing through Barataria. Looking forward and looking back, you see you have about 20 to 30 people shoulder to shoulder across as far as the eye could see. When the front of the funeral was in Mova Junction, the back was still in Port of Spain. It hadn't crossed the bridge. This one is going up pretty crazy in Savo.
On the 26th of April 1970, Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams declared a state of emergency, and some 50 persons associated with the protests were arrested and detained on Nelson Island. Ayegoro Ome was one of them.
I've had some problems with this particular occasion. I did not know that I would have been so affected to enter this hall again. This is where we used to have our meals. The dormitories were on the other side. And when I heard Brother Sweet go through the list of persons who have been a part of this very rigorous process that we went through here on Nelson Island, a lot of memories came back. Some pleasant, the majority very unpleasant.
Out of the Black Power Uprising came a requirement in law that anyone wanting to hold a public demonstration or meeting must seek permission from the police service. There was also a push to nationalize key companies that were in foreign hands, and people started celebrating their African ancestry in ways they'd never felt comfortable doing prior to the uprising. In the follow-up to this piece, we will talk to a historian, a journalist, and one of the leaders of the uprising about their memories of 1970. Soyini Grey, CNews.